All right, so in today's video, we are going to talk about how to allocate the funds that you have taken out from your lifetime savings in order to grow your solopreneurship business. If you're brand new into solopreneurship or planning to get into solopreneurship, or you're already working as a distributor with sub company promoting their products on an affiliate basis, or you have your own practice which you're planning to scale into multiple locations or hire more employees, this particular video is going to be useful to you. In this particular video, I'm also going to go way back and show you India's psychological business history and what is the one mindset problem that most people have that is outdated, that causes them to lose money when they set up their new business. All right, so welcome to this video. My name is Dr. Rajat Sinha. I'm a medical doctor turned sales strategist, and in my journey I started learning the game of business very early when I was still studying my MBBS course program. And during that time, I had tied up with a company to promote their products, and that gave me a lot of knowledge about sales, about marketing, lead generation, etc. And later, when I was able to work with my Silicon Valley experience in a startup which we were able to build and actually get acquired in Silicon Valley, that really gave me a lot more perspective into how business should ideally be done. So today I'm helping solopreneurs in order to if you want to give up your job and start a business, or if you have a business on the ground, how do you scale it to 8 figures and beyond, and how do you do it if you're kind of using your own money for your business growth. This is the biggest difference between solopreneurs and any other business. They don't have access to outside funding and also outside advice. So how do you make sure that you use your resources wisely? Because most businesses that fail are actually lie in the solopreneurship domain, simply because the resources to sustain the business are mostly inadequate. Okay. So before we go ahead, I just want to quickly share with you what is the concept of business that's been going on since the since the independence era, and actually in the pre-independence era, before we had all of these invasions and all of that, we were actually a business first nation. So India is actually, if you're an Indian person listening to this or from the subcontinent, I would like to say that genetically you are predisposed to actually doing business, but due to all of these invasions and the British Raj and all of that, our education system was created to create employees. And then even after independence, the best chance of actually having financial stability was to either get a government job or get a job with a company like Infosys, which could place you abroad, or later on in the 2000s get a job in a company which would be actually billing other companies abroad. So basically, this whole services mindset was inculcated in us through many hundreds of years. But primarily, I would like to say that if you are a person from the subcontinent, then you're actually inherently pre you're kind of prepared in order to do business. That is what your natural flair ideally is. Now, in spite of that, you can see that Indians have been primarily not that frightfully successful in business, especially inside India. Of course, when you see a lot of NRIs, they're going abroad. They are usually forming the top 2% of business income earners in all of the different countries they are. You can look at Africa, you can look at Southeast Asia, you can look at America. All of the top earning segments are actually Indian people. So, what is the difference? Why is it that we are unable to do at home what we are able to do abroad? And the answer is that while the Indian economy was growing through the 70s, 80s, and all of that, what really happened was that we were a supply side nation. On the left side, you will see this diagram, which is what it's showing, a supply side kind of an economy, which basically means that there was this big consumer base that had to be catered to. Okay, so you had 100 crore people back in the day, they must have been 60 crore or whatever it is. There were this tens of crores of people who were needing products and services, but due to the license raj and restrictions and things like that, it was very, very difficult to actually get products and services over to these people. So the businessmen who succeeded at that time were ideally supply side businessmen, which means they didn't really have to figure out a consumer base. Consumer base was already there. They just had to figure out the supply side, which is how do I get the license to distribute, how do I find a source to distribute. So you would find people buying clothes cheap in Thailand or someplace and come and sell it in India. People buy gold and sell it in India, and just sourcing and selling of stuff was the big issue, rather than actually competing for customer base. So sales and marketing side of the Indian mindset has been over a period of time, it has not grown as much, it has not evolved as much. Okay, when you come and see today's times, On the right side, I have a demand side economy. What's a demand side economy? You have after aggregators started, and even after the economy opened up to 100% transparent economy with the Western people also coming in and selling their products and things like that with full privatization. What has happened is that there is a competition in order to grab customer mindset. Okay, competition to grab customer mindset. If you see, Amazon today does not have any does not really produce anything of its own, but they just source the stuff from other people already in the supply line and just deliver faster and more efficiently, and they have the mind space of the Indian customer. Okay, similarly, if you see Airbnb, Oyo rooms, they don't really own the actual supply side, but they are able to aggregate and they're able to hold the customer's mind space and make sure that the delivery is to the customer's satisfaction. Which brings me to the main concept today, which is that if you're in business, you have to look at two variables. And the first variable is encashment, and the second variable is fulfillment. Now, in order to have business efficiency and make profits, you need to look at something called time to encashment and time to fulfillment. What is time to encashment? Time to encashment is actually going out and selling the product. And when I mean sales is actually asking for the money and getting paid. Asking for the money and getting paid. A lot of people think, hey man, if I provide great service, see, this is the mindset of a service-based economy which has been grilled into us by the British and the license Raj, which is if you provide service, you are going to get paid. That's not how it works in business. You're going to find a customer, you're going to get into the mind of the customer, you're going to ask for the money and you're going to get paid first. And then you're going to figure out how to provide the product or the service. A lot of people get into engagements with the customers where they say, okay, I'm going to provide you 1 month of service. This is my bill rate. People will say, okay, yes, let's see how you perform. And then the performance is not there. They never get paid. They're chasing for getting their invoices paid and all. That is not real business. Okay. Real business is when you can make an offer and get paid before the product is ever delivered. Okay. That is real sales and that is marketing. And that is what I call encashment. Encashment comes before fulfillment. If you see any self-respecting network or product or brand today, first they get paid, then there is fulfillment, which basically means I pay money to Amazon first, I get the product later. I pay money to Swiggy first, get the product later. Okay, so that is why Swiggy is bigger than all of these. Any big restaurant or standalone restaurant you see, Swiggy is bigger than that because they get paid first. So the encashment happens first and fulfillment happens later. Now, what are the things that are included in fulfillment? Let me just open this up. If you're worrying about fulfillment, which is how the hell will I actually deliver to the customer what they need, you've got manufacturing, you got branding, which is actually the packaging, and you've got the shipping. Okay, so if you have to make the raw product, you have to brand the raw product with your own dabba and your own sticker and things like that, and then you got to ship out the product. These are the three things broadly that come into fulfillment. Okay, and if you see, most people who start a business actually spend more time on the fulfillment side. First of all, they spend a lot of time worrying how the hell I'll deliver the product. Second, they spend a lot of time and money worrying that I should be the best quality. And third thing, they spend most of their time and money worrying, hey, what happens if the customer is angry or something like that? And then they're in this whole product side or the supply side of the equation. What is time to encashment? This itself, as we discussed in my previous video, this takes a lot of time. There's a huge cost to acquire the customer. Cost to acquire the customer. Similarly, there is time to acquire the customer. Most people think, hey man, if I have a product ready or if I build the best product, customers will come. No. Finding the customer is probably one of the biggest costs for any business today. Okay. Finding, in fact, doing lead generation and making the sales and getting the money in probably takes most of the time in the cycle today. Okay, most of the time is actually eaten up by marketing, lead generation. Marketing also means branding, getting your brand out there. Then you got lead generation, then you got sales, then you got collections. Okay, this is a bigger part of the equation. And if you're a solopreneur, a lot of people actually don't think about this part. They just think about this part. And as a sales consultant, business consultant, I get lots of inquiries where people have thought about, hey, you know what, I have this bright idea, which is I'm going to get this particular health product into the market, and I'm going to make it on my own farm because I have the farm, and I'm going to grow this thing, and out of the leaves of this thing, I'm going to make this medicinal product. I'm going to package it as a supplement or something like that, or as a tea bag or something like that, and then, this is my business. Okay, so how the hell do you get the customers? Okay. Oh, well, I'll put it up in stores. Okay, so how much is the rent for those stores per square feet of shelf space that you're going to take? I don't know. I never figured that out. Okay, so you haven't figured out what is the cost of getting in front of customer. In fact, by the way, getting your product in front of a store, on a store shelf, is a marketing cost. It's not even the cost of sales. It's a marketing cost. That means it only gets you visibility. It doesn't guarantee that your product will sell, especially if your product is something that is edible, or something that's going to kind of get destroyed over time. It has an expiration date. All right. If you're into services, very, very important, man. The time to encashment is more and more difficult, because today, when people go out to look for services, it's very, very easy. They can just go to ChatGPT and make a search, and ChatGPT is going to hyper speed up the Google search they would otherwise be making, and give you the top 5, 10, 20 vendors of everything in your city, with their average price ranges and the customer feedbacks, all compiled into one single prompt. Okay, so getting the attention of the customer, holding the attention of the customer, getting the money to change hands, all of this today takes more and more time and money. Okay, fulfillment, not so much. Yes, if you're into any kind of manufacturable product, there is a cost to manufacture. But what I would recommend is, don't get into the fulfillment game directly if you're into manufacturing stuff. Ideally, buy stock product and brand it to your name, or just work with a company and sell their products first, so that you can understand the market. When I worked in my college time, part-time, doing business, promoting a company, sometimes it felt like an unpaid job, because I didn't always make money, but I still had to go out every day and find prospects. But that built me into understanding marketing, lead generation, sales, and collections. Okay, that's why later I was able to become very, very successful, even when I was in a real job in sales and marketing in Silicon Valley. Okay, and then when I restarted my business later, I was able to become very, very successful using Facebook ads, because then all of the things that I was taking up my time, which was the actual lead generation and marketing, I could automate it, and then I was able to skyrocket pretty fast. Okay, so if you're a solopreneur, I would recommend that if you have a product idea in mind, the first thing you should do is tie up with somebody who already has a product. Ask them what is going to be the best rate that they can give you if you get customers for them. Don't mind it if you find a first few 2 or 3 customers and then you sell somebody else's product, and then your own brand doesn't get built in the bargain. That is totally fine, as long as you understand the sales and marketing and collections game. Okay, once you understand that, now you're ready to set up your own brand. You can go back to the supplier of the person you were buying from. You can go to one step behind them, get the same supplier to sell you same similar stuff, and brand it to your name. And then you can just go out there in the market. Okay, that's it. And the best way I would recommend today is that in order to sell the product, you don't even need the product. You can just start selling the information in the form of an information product. That way you don't need the back end at all. You can just get paid to provide the information in a packaged fashion. You can have multiple information products. You can have downloadables. You can have paid consultations. You can have a course program. You can build a community, whatever it is. Okay, but learn the demand side of the equation first, rather than the supply side, because the supply side is glutted. The supply side is oversupplied. The same 140 crore people that were baying or dying for products and services back in the 70s and 80s today are actually producing the same similar products and services. There are more people in India today producing products and services than there are marketing them. So you want to get in on the demand side, figure that out, and that's how you grow your brand. And as your brand grows, you will have the wherewithal to improve the quality, improve the customer service, improve the branding, speed up the shipping, all of these things. It's all a question of how much money you can spend. And where does that money come from? That money doesn't come from service or trust or anything. That money is hard cash that you charge the client even before you have shipped the product. So that is the side of the equation that you gotta master first. Okay. So if I was starting out again all over today. Oh, by the way, I have now a full scale company with 8 employees, but I did not start out like that. When I started out, I started charging money for just for teaching people the basic concepts of sales and marketing, and I started selling a course program. And then later people said, okay, we'd like to get in deeper with you. So I started selling a done with you challenge where I'm going to be coming with you every Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and helping you set up your sales and marketing. And then I realized this is not a one person game. So I tied up with the person who was actually doing my marketing in order to do the business setup and launch for my own clients. And then stage 4, I said, listen, man, this is working very well. I could be your number one client. So why don't we set up a partnership agency where both of us can be the partners. I'll be in charge of getting the clients, and you should be in charge of hiring the employees and training the employees who can service those clients. So it was stage number 4 when I started figuring out the fulfillment. Okay. and the cost of hiring and training the employees, all of it came from all of the money that we had already collected over the years by selling information products or by selling challenges. Okay. I would recommend, whether you are in a services side of business or consulting, or you want to sell a health product, or you want to, even if you want to sell a financial product, you should totally figure out the sell side of the business, which is actual marketing and lead generation, which even if you're tied up with a health company for selling vitamins or weight loss products or something, even if you're tied up with a company for selling insurance and mutual funds, they are not going to teach you how to do lead generation and selling, because that's why they are getting you to do their work for them. If they knew how to do lead gen and sales, they would not need independent agents. That is for sure. I see a lot of people, they get in touch with a company, let's say they're selling health products, and the company convinces them to buy 2 lakh rupees of stock product, which is just buy 2 lakh rupees of my weight loss product or my vitamin product, so that you can set up your own store, so you can go to market faster. No, having a 3 lakh rupees of product stock in your store does not improve time to fulfillment. Very simple. The only reason you should put money into any kind of product is that the time to fulfillment is faster. But having 2-3 lakh rupees of stock is not improving my time to fulfillment, because even if I was to place an order after collecting money from the customer, time to fulfillment would be the same. The company would anyway get the order on the internet and ship for whatever time it takes. Okay, it's not that important. A lot of people think, hey, just because I have 2 lakh rupees of stock or 3 lakh rupees of stock, I become a supervisor distributor or big distributor in that company, somehow it improves my business. No, it does not improve your business. The company just takes an extra 2-3 lakhs from you that they are not really allowed to take from a distributor. They're just trying to maximize their gains and increase your commitment. Okay. Similarly, if you are with an insurance company, whether you have an insurance, you yourself have an insurance cover of 2,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees or 10 lakh rupees, has no bearing on what is the time to fulfillment for your clients. A lot of insurance companies force their distributors to buy every single insurance policy they are coming out with. Hey, before selling this policy, you should own this policy so that you have the moral authority to sell this policy. No. No. If you go to a BMW showroom to buy a BMW, the salesman over there does not own a BMW, so they have moral authority. They do not. Okay, so don't let these companies screw you over with increasing amounts of financial buy-in. Your time to fulfillment does not increase if you have the product in your store versus the company stores, because the time to fulfillment is the same. Okay, what you need to do is you need to improve time to encashment by having your own lead generation, learning your own sales. In fact, if I was starting out in business today, what I would do would be I would master these 2 things. I would master lead generation and sales first. If you can do this, if you can generate leads and sell them and get the money out from their pockets, man, I have mastered 99% of what business in any vertical, in any industry demands from you. If you can do that, man, you're all set. So if I was starting out, once again, if I was starting out today, what I would do was master lead generation and sales into any kind of product line that you choose. Okay, that's it from my side. Hope you like this video. Please follow this channel and do let me know in the comments what other videos I can make for you, so I can come up with more and more content for you. Okay, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.